The bet. Lucas Marshall was no stranger to luxury. With his tailored suits, high-end sports cars, and an apartment overlooking Central Park, he was the quintessential millionaire. His life was a whirlwind of board meetings, lavish parties, and beautiful women. Lucas thrived on competition, driven by an insatiable desire to prove himself the best in every endeavor. However, beneath the facade of wealth and charm lay a man who had grown tired of shallow victories and empty accolades. It was at a glamorous charity gala in New York, hosted in a lavish penthouse, that the course of Lucas's life would take an unexpected turn. The atmosphere was electric, with the city skyline twinkling in the background and laughter mingling with the clinking of champagne glasses. Dressed in an exquisite tuxedo, Lucas stood confidently at the center of a group of high-profile guests, regaling them with tales of his latest business triumphs. Among the crowd was his childhood friend, Jack Stevens, a well-rounded man with a penchant for humor. Jack had always been the more down-to-earth counterpart to Lucas's extravagant lifestyle. He observed Lucas with an amused glint in his eye, enjoying the charisma and bravado that seemed to attract people like moths to a flame. "Lucas," Jack called out, his voice cutting through the laughter. "Do you ever get bored of the same old routine? The same type of women, the same victories?" Lucas smirked, leaning back against the marble bar. "Boredom? Hardly. I thrive on competition, Jack. You know that." Jack took a sip of his champagne, eyes twinkling with mischief. "What if I challenged you to step outside your comfort zone? I bet you wouldn't have the guts to marry a woman who doesn't fit your usual type." The crowd fell silent, the playful challenge hanging in the air. Lucas raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the audacity of Jack's proposition. He had never backed down from a bet, and this was no different. "And what's the prize?" Lucas inquired, a competitive glint in his eyes. Jack leaned closer, lowering his voice as if revealing a great secret. $1 million to the winner. But there's a catch. You have to marry her and stay married for at least 6 months. The room erupted in laughter, but Lucas felt a rush of adrenaline. This was exactly the kind of challenge he lived for. $1 million was a substantial sum, but the thrill of winning was worth far more to him. "You're on," Lucas declared, extending his hand. Jack shook it with a grin, sealing their deal. Lucas's mind raced with possibilities. He could marry anyone. After all, he was a millionaire. But who would this woman be? Lucas couldn't help but wonder who Jack had in mind, and if he could truly handle someone who wasn't easily intimidated by his wealth and status. Days passed, and the excitement of the bet grew. Jack finally revealed the identity of the woman in question, Chloe Richards. Lucas hadn't heard of her before, but Jack's description piqued his interest. She was not only confident and independent, but also unapologetically herself. Lucas was intrigued and somewhat daunted by the idea of marrying someone who wouldn't simply bend to his will. When the day of their first meeting arrived, Lucas dressed meticulously, donning a designer suit that accentuated his athletic build. He chose a luxurious restaurant known for its exquisite cuisine, believing the setting would impress Chloe. As he arrived, he surveyed the room, searching for the woman who would challenge everything he knew about relationships. When Chloe entered, Lucas was taken aback. She was not what he expected. While she didn't conform to conventional beauty standards, her confidence radiated. Her presence filled the room, and she walked in with purpose. As she approached, Lucas noticed the subtle curve of her smile and the spark in her eyes that seemed to say she was ready for anything. "You must be Lucas Marshall," Chloe said, her voice firm and direct as she slid into the chair opposite him. "And you must be Chloe Richards," Lucas replied, extending his hand with a practiced smile. She hesitated for a moment but shook his hand with a strong grip that surprised him. "Let's not beat around the bush, Lucas," Chloe began, her tone straightforward. "I know why we're here. I know about the bet, the terms, and the conditions." Lucas felt a flicker of surprise at her bluntness. Most women he encountered would have tiptoed around such a sensitive topic. "And yet you still agreed to meet?" he asked, genuinely curious. Chloe met his gaze without flinching. "I didn't want to miss an opportunity to see what you're really like. You may have money and status, but I'm not impressed by that. I want to know who you are beneath the surface." Lucas's intrigue deepened. This was not the typical interaction he was used to. Most women, enamored by his wealth, would be vying for his attention, but Chloe seemed completely unfazed. He felt a strange combination of challenge and attraction. It was as if she held a mirror to his soul, reflecting parts of himself he had long ignored. "I appreciate your honesty," Lucas said, adjusting in his seat. "But just so we're clear, this is strictly business for me." Chloe smiled slightly, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "I wouldn't expect anything less, but don't think for a second that I'm just some pawn in your game. I'm not going to play the role of the trophy wife." Lucas raised an eyebrow, both impressed and amused. This woman was fierce, and for the first time, he felt a hint of respect for someone who dared to stand up to him. "Fair enough. Then let's make this interesting." Their conversation flowed effortlessly, revealing a surprising connection. As they discussed their lives, dreams, and ambitions, Lucas discovered layers to Chloe that intrigued him further. She was not just strong-willed. She was also intelligent, passionate, and unapologetically authentic. Throughout the evening, Lucas felt the old familiar rush of competition fade away, replaced by a genuine curiosity about the woman sitting across from him. As they shared laughter and stories over their meals, he realized this bet was shaping into something he had never expected. As the night came to an end, Lucas stood outside the restaurant, staring into the bustling streets of New York. The lights shimmered like stars, reflecting the whirlwind of emotions brewing within him. He couldn't help but wonder what lay ahead in this peculiar arrangement with Chloe. Would he really be able to marry her for the bet? And more importantly, would it change him in ways he couldn't foresee? Little did he know, this bet would be the catalyst for a journey of self-discovery and transformation, revealing truths about love, respect, and the importance of looking beyond superficial judgments. As he drove away, Lucas felt a sense of anticipation. This was only the beginning, and his life was about to be turned upside down in ways he could never have imagined. Unraveling expectations. The following weeks felt surreal for Lucas Marshall. What had begun as a bold bet had morphed into an unexpected journey of introspection and intrigue. He found himself thinking about Chloe more than he anticipated. Their initial dinner had sparked a curiosity that lingered, challenging his preconceived notions of beauty and worth. Each day, the stakes of their arrangement became clearer, and Lucas felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension as the reality of marrying Chloe approached. Lucas often reminisced about their first meeting, recalling her confidence, directness, and most importantly, her ability to challenge him. She had stood her ground without flinching, which made him question everything he thought he knew about relationships. He was used to women fawning over his wealth, chasing his attention like moths to a flame, yet here was a woman who showed no interest in his bank account or societal status. It was refreshing and unsettling in equal measure. One rainy afternoon, Lucas found himself sitting in his luxurious office, surrounded by the glass walls of his penthouse, with the New York skyline sprawling behind him. He scrolled through a series of emails and financial reports, but felt a nagging restlessness in his chest. He leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms as his mind wandered to Chloe. What was she like when she wasn't caught in the whirlwind of a bet? What were her hopes and dreams? Did she have a family? Friends? He realized he didn't know nearly enough about the woman he was about to marry, if only for 6 months. Deciding it was time to learn more, Lucas picked up the phone and called Jack. "I need you to tell me more about Chloe," he said, his voice firm. "I need to understand what I'm getting into." Jack chuckled on the other end. "What, are you getting cold feet? I thought you were all in on this bet." "I'm not backing out. I just want to know what makes her tick," Lucas replied, his tone more serious. Jack paused before responding. "Okay, I'll give you the scoop. Chloe's a remarkable woman. She runs a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering young women from underprivileged backgrounds. She's passionate about education and believes in the power of mentorship. Lucas raised an eyebrow. That's impressive. I didn't expect that. Yeah, well, she's not your typical woman, Jack added. She's had her fair share of struggles, but has always fought for what she believes in. You might want to brace yourself. She doesn't shy away from confrontation, either. If you try to pull any of your millionaire antics, she won't hesitate to call you out. Lucas leaned back, a smirk creeping across his face. This was not what he was used to. But that was precisely why he was intrigued. Sounds like she could be a handful, he said, half in jest. She is, but that's what makes her great, Jack affirmed. Just be genuine with her, Lucas. You might learn something valuable. As Lucas ended the call, he felt a shift within him. The idea of marrying Chloe no longer felt like a gamble. It felt like an opportunity for growth. He was used to winning at everything. But this was different. This time, he had a chance to lose himself in someone else's world and perspective. Over the next few days, Lucas found himself contemplating the bet's true purpose. Sure, there was $1 million prize at stake, but there was also an underlying curiosity that urged him to dig deeper. He decided he needed to approach this marriage with authenticity and sincerity, rather than as a mere competition. As the appointed day for their wedding approached, Lucas arranged to meet Chloe again, this time in a more casual setting. He wanted to break the ice and see how she truly felt about the upcoming union. He selected a cozy cafe downtown, one known for its artisanal coffee and inviting atmosphere. When Chloe arrived, Lucas noticed her effortless style, a simple yet elegant sundress paired with comfortable sandals. She radiated an unassuming confidence that was both refreshing and captivating. As they settled into a corner table, Lucas felt the familiar stirrings of excitement mixed with nervousness. "Thanks for meeting me," he began, taking a sip of his coffee. "I wanted to talk about the wedding. I know this is all a bit unconventional." Chloe regarded him with a raised eyebrow. "You mean the bet? The marriage that's primarily a game to you?" Lucas winced at her directness. "I'm not going to lie. That was my initial motivation, but I'm starting to realize that this is an opportunity to understand something greater than myself." "Greater than yourself?" Chloe echoed, a hint of skepticism in her voice. "You do realize that marrying someone as a bet doesn't scream sincerity, right?" "I know," Lucas admitted, feeling the weight of his own words, "but I want to approach this honestly. I want to understand you beyond the bet. What drives you? What makes you tick?" Chloe studied him for a moment, her expression softening. "I appreciate that, Lucas, but you should know that I'm not going to make this easy for you. I expect you to be genuine. I want us to have an open conversation about who we are. If we're going to do this, I need to know you're not just playing a game." Lucas nodded, a newfound determination igniting within him. "Then let's talk. No pretenses." They dove into a rich conversation that flowed effortlessly. Chloe shared stories about her childhood, her struggles growing up in a less privileged neighborhood, and her passion for advocating for young girls facing similar challenges. She spoke about her nonprofit organization and how she had dedicated her life to empowering others. Lucas listened intently, feeling a shift in his perspective. The more Chloe spoke, the more he realized how little he had considered the lives of others beyond his own success. He began to understand the weight of her experiences and the strength that had shaped her into the woman she was today. As they continued to discuss their values, aspirations, and beliefs, Lucas found himself opening up about his own journey. He shared the pressure he felt to maintain his status, the expectations from family and society, and the loneliness that often accompanied his wealth. It was a side of him he rarely revealed, but something about Chloe's openness encouraged him to drop his guard. "Honestly, I've been so focused on winning that I've neglected to really live," Lucas confessed, looking into Chloe's eyes. "I've been surrounded by people who care more about my money than me. It's refreshing to talk to someone who sees beyond that." Chloe smiled softly, her expression warm. You're not alone in that, Lucas. Everyone wears a mask, and it can be exhausting. I've spent years fighting to prove my worth in a world that often overlooks me. But I've learned that vulnerability is strength. It takes courage to let others see who you truly are. As their conversation deepened, Lucas felt a shift within himself. It was as if the walls he had built around his heart were slowly crumbling. He started to see Chloe not just as a woman he was marrying for a bet, but as a partner who could challenge him to grow and evolve. When their meeting came to an end, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that this was the beginning of something profound. As they walked out of the cafe, the sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the city. Lucas turned to Chloe, feeling the surge of appreciation. "Thank you for today. I didn't expect to learn so much." Chloe met his gaze with a knowing smile. "There's more to discover, Lucas. This is just the tip of the iceberg. If we're going to do this, let's commit to exploring each other's worlds." As Lucas drove home that evening, he felt a sense of anticipation. The journey ahead was uncertain, but he was ready to embrace it. This wasn't just about winning a bet. It was about embarking on a journey of transformation, love, and growth. He had no idea how their marriage would unfold, but one thing was clear. Chloe Richards was unlike anyone he had ever met, and their union had the potential to change him in ways he couldn't yet fathom. As he looked out at the city lights, he felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps this bet would turn out to be the best decision he had ever made. Embracing change. As the wedding day approached, Lucas Marshall found himself caught in a whirlwind of emotions he had never expected. The initial thrill of the bet had morphed into something deeper, a sense of connection and curiosity that drew him toward Chloe Richards in ways he could not articulate. He was about to marry a woman who challenged him, who forced him to confront aspects of himself he had long ignored. Lucas had always prided himself on being in control, both in his business dealings and personal life. Yet the prospect of marrying Chloe left him feeling vulnerable. She was not just another trophy on his arm. She was a force of nature, a woman with dreams and aspirations that inspired him. The more he learned about her, the more he admired her tenacity and resolve. This was a woman who had fought against the odds and carved her own path, and now he was about to intertwine his life with hers. On the morning of the wedding, Lucas stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie. He looked sharp in his custom-made suit, but the reflection staring back at him felt different today. Instead of the confident, arrogant businessman he had always seen, he noticed a man grappling with uncertainty and a sense of hope. What if this marriage led him to discover parts of himself he had buried under layers of success and wealth? As he arrived at the venue, a beautiful garden in a serene part of the city, he felt his heart race. The flowers were in full bloom, and the scent of fresh blooms filled the air. Guests were arriving, dressed in their finest attire, and a sense of anticipation buzzed through the atmosphere. Lucas spotted Jack, who was adjusting his tie while chatting with some mutual friends. "Ready for the big moment?" Jack asked, a playful glint in his eye. Lucas chuckled nervously. "As ready as I'll ever be. This feels surreal, you know." "It's more than just a bet now, isn't it?" Jack replied, his tone shifting to something more serious. "You've come to care about her." Lucas nodded, admitting the truth he had been wrestling with. "Yeah, I never expected this. Chloe is different. She makes me think." "Good. That's exactly what you need," Jack said, patting him on the back. "Just be yourself. You've got this." As Lucas made his way to the altar, his heart raced with anticipation. He caught a glimpse of Chloe standing at the front, her radiant smile lighting up the garden. Dressed in a simple yet elegant gown, she looked both beautiful and strong, embodying everything he had come to admire about her. He marveled at how effortlessly she carried herself, radiating confidence and poise. When their eyes met, a silent understanding passed between them. This was not just about the bet anymore. It was a shared journey, a commitment to explore the depths of their identities together. As the officiant began the ceremony, Lucas felt a wave of emotions wash over him: excitement, fear, and an unexpected sense of belonging. The vows exchanged were straightforward and honest, devoid of the grandiose declarations often found in traditional weddings. "I promise to respect you and learn from you," Chloe stated firmly, her voice unwavering. "I commit to being your partner, no matter the challenges we face." Lucas found his own voice, steady and sincere as he replied, "I promise to embrace this journey with you, to discover who we are together, and to challenge each other to be better." As they sealed their vows with a kiss, Lucas felt a profound shift within him. This was no longer just a game. It was a commitment to growth, authenticity, and love in its many forms. The applause of their friends and family enveloped them, and for the first time in a long while, Lucas felt genuinely happy. The reception that followed was a celebration unlike any Lucas had experienced before. Gone were the superficial conversations and shallow connections he had grown accustomed to. Instead, the atmosphere was filled with genuine laughter and heartfelt toasts. Guests shared stories of Chloe's dedication to her work and her unwavering spirit. Lucas listened intently, feeling a swell of pride as he watched Chloe engage with everyone, her warmth and charisma drawing people in. Later in the evening, as they stepped outside for a moment of privacy, the cool night air wrapped around them. Lucas turned to Chloe, unable to suppress his curiosity any longer. "How do you feel about all of this?" he asked, gesturing back toward the festivities. "About marrying me, even if it started as a bet." Chloe paused, looking thoughtful. "I see this as a chance to redefine what it means to be married. For too long, marriage has been tied to conventions and expectations. I believe it can be something more, a partnership where we support and inspire each other." Lucas nodded, impressed by her perspective. "I agree. But I want to make sure we don't lose sight of what brought us together. I don't want this to become just another obligation." Chloe smiled, her eyes sparkling in the moonlight. "Neither do I. Let's keep the lines of communication open. We can navigate this together, even if it means stepping outside our comfort zones." Their conversation deepened, and Lucas felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the woman standing beside him. He realized that this marriage was more than just a challenge. It was an opportunity to grow as individuals and partners. The more he learned about Chloe, the more he admired her resilience and passion. She was a woman who faced adversity head-on, and now he was committed to being part of her journey. In the weeks that followed their wedding, Lucas and Chloe settled into an unconventional routine. They shared their lives, both in the public eye and behind closed doors, and discovered that each day was a chance to learn from one another. They explored their interests, whether it was attending art exhibitions, volunteering at Chloe's nonprofit, or simply enjoying quiet evenings at home. Lucas found himself drawn into Chloe's world of advocacy and service. He accompanied her to community events, where she spoke passionately about empowering young women and the importance of education. It was eye-opening for Lucas, who had lived a life insulated from such struggles. He began to understand the depth of the issues Chloe cared about, and slowly he found himself wanting to contribute. One Saturday morning, as they prepared to head to a fundraising event, Chloe turned to Lucas with a mischievous smile. "You ready for this? We're going to engage with a crowd that might not be impressed by your money or status." Lucas laughed, his heart racing at the thought. "Bring it on. I'm ready to step outside my bubble." At the event, held in a local community center, Lucas was immediately struck by the energy in the room. Young women gathered to hear Chloe speak, their faces bright with hope and ambition. As Chloe addressed the audience, Lucas felt a rush of pride wash over him. She captivated the crowd, sharing her story of overcoming obstacles and encouraging them to pursue their dreams. Later, when they mingled with attendees, Lucas found himself genuinely connecting with the women and families there. They shared their stories of struggle and triumph, and he listened intently, realizing that there was so much more to life than wealth and success. He began to empathize with their experiences, seeing the world through their eyes. At one point, a young girl approached Lucas, her face lighting up with excitement. "Are you really married to Chloe Richards?" She's amazing. I want to be like her one day." Lucas smiled, touched by her enthusiasm. "You can be anything you want to be if you believe in yourself and work hard." Chloe is proof of that. The girl's eyes sparkled as she nodded, taking in his words. Lucas felt a deep sense of fulfillment wash over him. This was what life was about, not the money, the accolades, or the status, but connection, inspiration, and the ability to make a difference. As they left the event, Chloe turned to him, her expression softening. "You did well today, Lucas. You didn't shy away from the hard conversations." Lucas grinned, feeling a sense of camaraderie with her. "I owe it all to you. You opened my eyes to something beautiful." Chloe's smile widened. "And you've opened my heart to possibilities I never considered. I'm grateful for that." In the following weeks, Lucas continued to immerse himself in Chloe's world. Together, they visited schools, organized workshops, and worked on community projects. Each experience deepened their bond, and Lucas discovered a new sense of purpose beyond the confines of his corporate empire. He was no longer just a wealthy businessman. He was a partner in a mission that mattered. As the 6-month mark approached, Lucas realized that the bet had transformed into something profoundly meaningful. What began as a competitive challenge had blossomed into a partnership grounded in mutual respect, admiration, and shared goals. He and Chloe were not just husband and wife. They were allies in a journey that expanded their horizons and enriched their lives. With each passing day, Lucas found himself falling for Chloe, not just for her strength and resilience, but for her ability to inspire him to be a better man. He had come to cherish the moments they spent together, from quiet evenings filled with laughter to passionate discussions about their dreams for the future. Yet, as the deadline of their bet loomed closer, Lucas felt an undeniable tug in his heart. He had entered this arrangement with the intention of winning $1 million, but now he couldn't help but wonder if he could win something even greater, Chloe's love and commitment beyond the confines of their bet. As he lay in bed one night, staring at the ceiling, Lucas knew he had to confront his feelings. This journey had led him to a place he never expected to be, on the verge of falling in love. The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. Would Chloe feel the same? Would she want to continue their journey beyond the bet? With a newfound determination, Lucas resolved to take the leap. He would tell Chloe how he truly felt, no matter the outcome. After all, the greatest risk often comes with the greatest rewards. As he drifted into sleep, the stars outside twinkled like promises of what lay ahead. An adventure filled with love, growth, and the possibility of a future they could create together. Taking the leap. The days melted away as Lucas Marshall and Chloe Richards settled into their new lives as a married couple. The initial excitement of the wedding had transformed into a comfortable routine, and as the 6-month mark of their bet approached, Lucas felt a mixture of anxiety and exhilaration. The thought of continuing this journey with Chloe filled him with hope, yet the fear of the unknown lingered in the back of his mind. As he stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse, overlooking the bustling streets of New York, Lucas reflected on how much had changed since that fateful day of the gala. He had entered into this marriage as a game, a bet to win $1 million, but it had blossomed into something far richer, an emotional connection that he had never anticipated. Chloe had entered his life, and in many ways, revolutionized it. That evening, as they prepared for dinner at a trendy new restaurant that Chloe had been eager to try, Lucas felt the tension in the air. They were both dressed to the nines. Chloe in a sleek black dress that accentuated her curves, and Lucas in a tailored suit that reflected his newfound commitment to dressing with authenticity, eschewing the more flamboyant styles he had previously favored. The mirror revealed not just his physical appearance, but also the man he was becoming, someone willing to embrace vulnerability. When they arrived at the restaurant, the ambience was alive with energy. Laughter echoed from the vibrant crowd, and the aroma of gourmet dishes wafted through the air. Lucas held the door open for Chloe, feeling a rush of affection as she stepped through, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Wow, this place is incredible," Chloe exclaimed, taking in the decor and atmosphere. "I figured you'd like it," Lucas said, grinning. He enjoyed seeing her so animated. It reminded him of the passion that had drawn him to her in the first place. As they settled into their seats, Lucas noticed the way Chloe engaged with the waiter, asking questions about the menu and sharing her thoughts with enthusiasm. Her genuine nature shone through, and he marveled at how effortlessly she connected with everyone around her. It was a stark contrast to the business dinners he was accustomed to, where people often feigned interest in the discussions simply to impress. "Lucas, what do you think about the idea of exploring more community projects?" Chloe asked between bites of her meal. "I've been thinking we could start a mentorship program for young girls in the neighborhood." Lucas felt a thrill at her suggestion. "I love that idea. We could host workshops, inviting successful women to share their stories and experiences. It could be transformative." As they delved into the details of their plan, Lucas felt a surge of excitement wash over him. This was what he had been searching for, an opportunity to make a difference, to contribute to something bigger than himself. And with Chloe by his side, he felt emboldened to take on new challenges. After finishing their meal, Lucas sensed that the time had come for him to share his feelings. He had been contemplating how to express what lay in his heart, and now, surrounded by the warmth of the restaurant and the flickering candlelight, the moment felt right. "Chloe," he began, his voice steady yet soft, "I've been thinking about our marriage, and I need to be honest with you about something." Chloe looked at him, her expression curious and open. "What is it?" "I came into this arrangement with the mindset of winning a bet, but as time has passed, I've realized it's become so much more for me. I've learned so much from you, about life, about compassion, about what it means to truly connect with someone. I find myself wanting more than just 6 months of this. I want to explore what we have together, beyond the terms of the bet." Chloe's gaze softened, and Lucas held his breath, waiting for her response. He could see the wheels turning in her mind, processing his words. "Lucas, are you saying you want to continue this marriage?" "Yes," he replied, his heart pounding in his chest. "I want to build something meaningful with you. I've come to care for you deeply. I didn't expect to feel this way, but you've changed my perspective on so many things. I want us to be partners in every sense of the word, not just for a few months, but for as long as we both want." Chloe's eyes glistened as she searched his face for sincerity. "You really mean that?" "I do," he affirmed, feeling a wave of vulnerability wash over him. "You've opened my eyes to the beauty in this world and the strength in being vulnerable. I want to explore that with you." A smile broke across Chloe's face, lighting up her features. "Lucas, I never imagined you would feel this way. I have also been feeling a connection, something I didn't expect to happen when we first started this. I want to see where this takes us to." Relief flooded through Lucas, and a warmth enveloped him as Chloe reached across the table, her hand resting over his. The simple gesture ignited a spark within him, and in that moment, he felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He had entered this marriage as a bet, but had found a partner in Chloe, someone who inspired him to become the best version of himself. "Then let's not put limits on this," Lucas said, his eyes shining with determination. "Let's keep building, keep exploring. I want us to create a future where we can both thrive." Their conversation flowed effortlessly, weaving dreams and aspirations into the fabric of their relationship. They talked about travel, their hopes for the nonprofit, and how they could intertwine their lives even further. For Lucas, it was exhilarating to realize that he could be vulnerable with Chloe without fear of judgment. She understood him in a way that no one else ever had. The evening wore on, and as they strolled through the vibrant streets of New York, hand in hand, Lucas felt as if they were embarking on a new chapter together. Each step felt lighter, each moment more precious. The city buzzed around them, yet they existed in their own little world, united by the bond they were forging. When they returned home, the atmosphere was alive with possibilities. Lucas and Chloe spent the night discussing their shared goals, sketching out plans for their future. They shared laughter, dreams, and the occasional serious moment of reflection. It felt as though they were building a foundation for something lasting, rooted in mutual respect and admiration. As the night drew to a close, Chloe turned to Lucas, her expression thoughtful. "You know, I never wanted to marry for the sake of it. I've always believed in love and connection. It's refreshing to see you embrace that too. I think we're onto something special." Lucas nodded, feeling an overwhelming sense of joy. "Me too, Chloe. Let's nurture this. Let's not just live in the moment but build a life filled with purpose, love, and adventure." With a newfound sense of commitment, they embraced the reality of their evolving relationship. As they settled into bed that night, Lucas held Chloe close, feeling her warmth beside him. The journey ahead was unknown, but for the first time, he felt ready to face it, knowing they would do so together. In the days that followed, Lucas and Chloe embarked on a mission to intertwine their lives, fostering a deep connection that went beyond the initial bet. Together, they began to blend their worlds, from attending charity events to engaging with the community. Their shared passion for empowerment and service fueled their relationship, and as they worked side by side, their bond deepened. Lucas found himself immersed in Chloe's nonprofit, participating in planning sessions, and even giving a speech at a fundraiser. He spoke passionately about the importance of education and mentorship, drawing on the lessons he had learned from Chloe. As he looked out at the audience, young women filled with hope and ambition, he realized how far he had come from the man who only saw success in terms of wealth and power. Chloe watched him with pride, her heart swelling at his transformation. Lucas was no longer just the millionaire with a competitive streak. He was a man who had opened his heart to the beauty of giving back, to the strength that lay in vulnerability. As they approached the end of their 6-month bet, Lucas felt a mixture of anticipation and hope. He knew that this was just the beginning of their journey together, and he was eager to see where it would lead. With Chloe by his side, he was ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead, fully committed to building a life that reflected both of their dreams. As the sun set on the horizon, casting a warm glow over the city, Lucas and Chloe stood hand in hand, ready to face the future together. The adventure of a lifetime awaited them, filled with love, purpose, and a shared vision for a better world. Defining their path. The sun rose over New York City, casting a golden hue across the skyline as Lucas and Chloe awoke to a new day filled with possibilities. Their 6-month bet was nearing its conclusion, but the connection they had built felt far more profound than a mere wager. Lucas lay beside Chloe, watching as the sunlight danced across her features, illuminating the determination and warmth that had drawn him to her in the first place. He marveled at how their lives had intertwined, transforming both of them in unexpected ways. As he rolled out of bed, Lucas felt a surge of purpose. He had been reflecting on how to honor the journey they had undertaken together, how to ensure that the bond they had created continued to thrive beyond the confines of the bet. He had never been one to shy away from a challenge, and this was no different. It was time to define their path, one that could encompass their shared passions and aspirations. After a quick breakfast, Lucas sat down with Chloe, who was engrossed in her planner, meticulously organizing the upcoming projects for her nonprofit. He admired her focus and dedication, traits that fueled his own desire to contribute. "Hey, Chloe," he began, a spark of excitement in his voice. "I've been thinking about our future, what it could look like beyond this bet. How do you feel about that?" Chloe looked up, her expression curious. "What do you mean?" I want us to make this more than just a temporary arrangement. I want to create something lasting, together. We've built something special, and I believe we can take it further." Chloe's eyes widened, and a slow smile spread across her face. "You're serious?" "Absolutely. We can combine our strengths, our passions. I want to support you in your mission, and I think we could explore some collaborative projects that could benefit the community," Lucas suggested, his heart racing with anticipation. "That sounds amazing." Chloe exclaimed, her enthusiasm contagious. "I've always dreamed of expanding my nonprofit, reaching more young women and empowering them to chase their dreams. I'd love to have you involved." "Then let's make it happen," Lucas said, his resolve solidifying. "We could create workshops, mentorship programs, maybe even fund scholarships for those in need. We can make a real impact." As they mapped out their vision, excitement crackled in the air between them. They brainstormed ideas, jotting down notes on a whiteboard, their laughter mingling with discussions about logistics and outreach strategies. Lucas felt a thrill at the thought of merging their lives in such a meaningful way. Their conversations spilled into the afternoon, filled with brainstorming sessions and plans for community outreach. They pored over spreadsheets and resources, both of them energized by the possibilities that lay ahead. Chloe shared her experiences, recounting stories of young women who had inspired her, each tale further igniting Lucas's passion for their cause. "Imagine hosting a summer camp where we can mentor these girls, give them skills for the future, and help them build confidence," Chloe suggested, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "We could bring in successful women from various fields to share their journeys." "I love that idea. We could even partner with local businesses to sponsor the camp," Lucas added, his mind racing with possibilities. "We could make it an annual event, creating a platform for these girls to shine." As they fleshed out their ideas, Lucas felt a profound sense of purpose blossoming within him. He was no longer just a millionaire with a competitive streak. He was a man on a mission, inspired by the woman beside him. The prospect of working alongside Chloe to create a positive impact was exhilarating. Over the next few weeks, they dove headfirst into planning. They reached out to potential sponsors, organized meetings with community leaders, and built a network of supportive allies who believed in their vision. As they worked tirelessly, the synergy between them grew, and Lucas found himself increasingly captivated by Chloe's passion and dedication. However, as the day of their bet approached, Lucas couldn't shake the unease that lingered in his chest. He had never been one to shy away from commitment, yet the thought of the bet's conclusion filled him with a sense of dread. He realized that their relationship had transcended the initial wager. He had fallen in love with Chloe, and he wanted nothing more than to continue their journey together. One evening, after a particularly long day of meetings, Lucas sat on the couch, a glass of wine in hand, deep in thought. Chloe joined him, curling up beside him, her head resting on his shoulder. He could feel the warmth of her presence, her familiar scent wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. "Hey," she said softly, looking up at him. "What's on your mind?" Lucas took a deep breath, searching for the right words. "I've been thinking about the end of our bet, and what it means for us." Chloe propped herself up on her elbow, her expression serious. "Are you worried about it ending?" "I know this has been unconventional." "It's more than that," Lucas admitted, his heart racing. "I've realized that what we have goes beyond this bet. I don't want to lose what we've built together." "You mean more to me than just a partner in a wager." Chloe's eyes widened, and Lucas felt his pulse quicken. "I've fallen for you, Chloe. I want to continue this journey with you, not just as a bet, but as a partnership, a real marriage if you're open to it." For a moment, silence enveloped them as Chloe absorbed his words. The tension in the room thickened, and Lucas held his breath, waiting for her response. He had laid his heart bare, and now it hung in the air, vulnerable and exposed. Finally, Chloe smiled, her eyes shining with emotion. "Lucas, I feel the same way. I've grown to love you, and I never thought I would say that after starting this as a bet. You've challenged me, supported me, and inspired me in ways I never expected." Relief washed over Lucas, and a wave of happiness surged within him. "Then let's make this official. Let's continue to build our lives together, not just for the community, but for ourselves." Chloe leaned in closer, her smile widening. "I want that too. We can redefine what marriage means for us, free from the traditional constraints. We can create a partnership that reflects our values and aspirations." Their conversation deepened as they discussed what their future could look like, They envisioned a life filled with purpose, laughter, and love. They spoke of traveling together, exploring new cultures, and learning from each other's experiences. Each word they shared painted a vivid picture of the life they would build, a tapestry woven with the threads of their individual journeys. As the days passed, Lucas and Chloe's bond solidified. They celebrated small victories, shared in each other's struggles, and reveled in the beauty of their growing relationship. Their passion for their work intertwined with their personal lives, creating a powerful synergy that propelled them forward. On the day that marked the end of their bet, Lucas planned a special evening to commemorate their journey. He reserved a private rooftop dinner overlooking the skyline, the city lights shimmering like stars in the night. As they arrived, the scene was breathtaking. Tables adorned with candles, soft music playing in the background, and the view stretching endlessly before them. As they settled in, Lucas took Chloe's hand in his, feeling the warmth of her skin against his. "I wanted tonight to be special, to reflect how far we've come," he said, his voice earnest. "You've changed my life in ways I can't fully express. I want to celebrate this journey, not just the end of a bet, but the beginning of our future." Chloe smiled, her eyes glistening in the candlelight. "This is beautiful, Lucas. Thank you for being so thoughtful." As they enjoyed their meal, Lucas felt a swell of gratitude for the woman sitting across from him. She was more than just his partner. She was his confidant, his inspiration, and his love. With each passing moment, he realized that their journey was only beginning, and the possibilities were limitless. After dinner, as they stood on the rooftop, gazing out at the city, Lucas turned to Chloe, feeling a sense of urgency to seal their commitment. "Chloe, I want to make this official. Will you take this journey with me, beyond the bet, beyond the expectations? Will you marry me for real?" Chloe's eyes widened, and a joyful laugh escaped her lips. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." In that moment, the city became their witness as Lucas slid a simple yet elegant ring onto her finger. The gesture was symbolic, not just of their commitment to one another, but of the transformative journey they had undertaken together. As they embraced, the world around them faded away, leaving only the warmth of their connection and the promise of a future filled with love, laughter, and purpose. They were ready to navigate the challenges and triumphs of life hand in hand, forever transformed by the bet that had brought them together. A new beginning. As the first light of dawn broke over the New York skyline, Lucas Marshall awoke beside Chloe Richards, still marveling at the night before. The sun spilled through the window, illuminating the room and casting a warm glow on the couple still entwined in each other's arms. It was a new day, a new beginning, and the possibilities stretched before them like the vast city they called home. Their engagement had marked a significant turning point in their lives, and Lucas felt a surge of excitement as he contemplated the journey ahead. The decision to marry Chloe for real, not just as a bet, filled him with a sense of purpose. He had never imagined that stepping outside of his comfort zone would lead him to a love so profound and transformative. After sharing a quiet breakfast, filled with playful banter and laughter, Lucas suggested they take a day to relax and reflect on their next steps. "Let's celebrate our engagement and take some time for ourselves. We've been so focused on the nonprofit and planning. I think we need a little adventure." Chloe's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. "I love that idea. What do you have in mind?" "Let's explore the city like tourists. We can visit Central Park, check out the museums, and maybe even take a stroll through the markets," Lucas proposed, a grin spreading across his face. "I want to experience the city through your eyes." Chloe smiled back, her heart swelling with affection for him. "That sounds perfect. Let's do it." They set off, hand in hand, embarking on a spontaneous adventure that took them through the heart of Manhattan. As they wandered through Central Park, the vibrant colors of spring surrounded them, and the cheerful sounds of laughter and music filled the air. They rented bicycles and pedaled through the winding paths, sharing stories, and stopping to enjoy impromptu picnics. Lucas marveled at how effortlessly Chloe engaged with everyone they met. From the street musicians to the families enjoying the day, she had a way of drawing people in. They stumbled upon a group of children playing soccer, and Chloe jumped right in, encouraging them and showcasing her competitive spirit. Lucas watched, captivated, as she easily connected with the kids, her laughter mingling with theirs. "See, you're a natural," he said, joining in on the fun, kicking the ball around and teasing Chloe when she missed a shot. Their playful banter echoed through the park, and Lucas felt a deep sense of joy. As the day unfolded, they made their way to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Chloe's passion for art and culture shone brightly as she guided Lucas through the exhibits. They stood in awe before masterpieces, and Chloe shared insights about the artists and their stories. Lucas found himself fascinated, not just by the art, but by the way Chloe illuminated the world around her. Art is so much more than just what you see. It's a reflection of the human experience, she explained, her eyes sparkling with excitement. It tells stories, evokes emotions, and connects us in ways we can't always articulate. Lucas nodded, deeply moved by her perspective. He had always viewed art as a luxury of the wealthy, something reserved for the elite, but Chloe's insights shifted his understanding. He saw how art could inspire change, provoke thought, and bridge gaps between cultures and experiences. As they left the museum, the sun began to set, casting a warm golden glow over the city. Lucas felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. This day had been more than just a simple outing. It was a celebration of their connection and the journey they were about to embark on together. They found themselves on a bustling street filled with vendors selling everything from artisanal crafts to delicious street food. "Let's try some local treats," Chloe exclaimed, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. They wandered from stall to stall, sampling everything from gourmet tacos to homemade pastries, their laughter mingling with the vibrant energy of the market. As they enjoyed their evening, Lucas felt a familiar tug at his heart. He wanted to share his plans for the nonprofit with Chloe and how they could expand their mission together. He had been toying with the idea of organizing a gala to raise awareness and funds, bringing together influential figures who could support their cause. "Chloe, I've been thinking," Lucas began, his voice steady. "What if we organized a charity gala? It could be a way to showcase the work we've been doing and attract more sponsors and mentors for the young women we're trying to empower." Chloe's eyes lit up at the idea. "That's brilliant, Lucas. A gala could bring together a community of supporters and help us reach a broader audience. We could invite speakers, hold workshops, and create an inspiring atmosphere for everyone involved." Lucas felt a surge of excitement at her enthusiasm. They spent the evening brainstorming ideas for the gala, discussing potential themes, venues, and speakers. The energy between them was electric, fueled by a shared passion for their mission. Lucas had always enjoyed planning events, but this felt different. This was about more than just a party. It was about making a difference in the lives of young women. As they walked back home, hand in hand, Lucas realized how much he had grown since meeting Chloe. She had inspired him to dig deeper, to explore the world beyond his own experiences, and to embrace the beauty of vulnerability. They shared their dreams and fears, weaving their aspirations into a tapestry of hope. Once home, they settled into the comfortable rhythm of their lives, their hearts full from the day's adventures. Lucas began drafting a proposal for the gala, pouring his energy into the plans, excited by the thought of making a tangible impact. He envisioned the event as an opportunity to create a ripple effect, inspiring others to join their cause and empower young women to reach their potential. As they worked side by side, Lucas often stole glances at Chloe, admiring her dedication and passion. She poured her heart into her work, and Lucas was proud to support her. They were building a life together, a partnership founded on mutual respect, love, and a shared commitment to making a difference. Weeks turned into months, and the gala date approached. Lucas and Chloe threw themselves into preparations, transforming their home into a hub of creativity and collaboration. They spent countless nights finalizing details, coordinating with vendors, and curating a program that would resonate with their audience. As the day of the gala arrived, excitement filled the air. The venue was beautifully adorned with twinkling lights, elegant centerpieces, and inspiring quotes that spoke to the mission of their organization. Chloe was a vision in a stunning gown that accentuated her figure, her confidence radiating as she greeted guests. Lucas couldn't help but admire her. She was a force of nature. As the evening unfolded, guests arrived, filling the room with laughter and conversation. Lucas took to the stage, heart racing as he prepared to speak. He scanned the audience, catching sight of Chloe beaming at him from the front row. In that moment, he felt a surge of gratitude for the journey that had brought them here. "Good evening, everyone," Lucas began, his voice steady. "Thank you all for joining us tonight. We are here to celebrate not just our mission, but the incredible young women we aim to empower through this organization." As he spoke, he shared stories of resilience and triumph, emphasizing the importance of mentorship and community support. The room was captivated, and Lucas could feel the energy rising. He glanced at Chloe, who was nodding in encouragement, her eyes shining with pride. "Together, we can create a brighter future," he continued, his passion igniting the audience. "Let's work together to break down barriers and empower the next generation of leaders. Thank you for believing in our mission." As he stepped off the stage, a wave of applause enveloped him, and he felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. The gala was not just a success, it was a celebration of their love, their partnership, and the impact they could make together. Chloe joined him, pulling him into a tight embrace. "You were amazing," she exclaimed, her eyes filled with admiration. "I'm so proud of you." Lucas smiled, feeling her warmth. "I couldn't have done it without you." "This is our journey, Chloe." The night continued with inspiring speeches from mentors, moving stories from young women whose lives had been touched by the organization, and lively discussions that encouraged engagement and connection. As Lucas and Chloe mingled with the guests, they felt a profound sense of purpose, a shared commitment to uplifting others, and fostering a sense of community. As the evening drew to a close, Lucas looked at Chloe, his heart swelling with love and appreciation. They had come so far since the day they had met, and he realized that the journey ahead was filled with promise. They were not just partners in a bet, they were partners in life, united by a shared vision and unwavering support for one another. Later that night, as they stood on the balcony overlooking the city, Lucas turned to Chloe, his voice filled with sincerity. "I never imagined this journey would lead me to you. You've changed my life in ways I can't even express. I want to continue building this life together, to inspire and empower others side by side." Chloe smiled softly, her eyes glistening with emotion. "I feel the same way, Lucas. You've opened my heart to love and partnership in a way I never thought possible. Together, we can change the world." As they stood hand in hand, gazing at the twinkling lights of the city, Lucas felt a profound sense of gratitude for the unexpected journey that had brought them together. Their love had transformed from a bet into a powerful force for good, and together, they were ready to embrace whatever the future held. With the promise of adventure, love, and shared purpose, Lucas and Chloe embarked on their next chapter, one filled with the joy of building a life together, a commitment to their mission, and a deep, abiding love that would continue to grow.